Alright, hey guys, in this video we're gonna talk about constructing the unit circle. I know this topic can be very challenging at times, but I hope this video makes it very easy for you guys. So we start off with our two special right triangles. So I'm just gonna walk you through how exactly the unit circle works and how exactly everything on the unit circle started to exist, basically. So we have our two special right triangles. These are two very common right triangles, the 45, 45, 90, and 30, 60, 90. So given these, we can actually get a lot of information for the unit circle. So now the unit circle, what it actually means is that it's just a circle with a radius of 1. So it's a circle with a radius of 1. That's something we know. Um, Now, if we were to look at these values here, let me use a better color. Now, these values here are very important. So, these side lengths for the triangles, for the special right triangles, is how we are going to find a lot of the information needed for the unit circle. So, I have a blank unit circle here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna call this angle right here 30 degrees. Let me make this slightly bigger. So I'm gonna make this 30 degrees right here. So now that that's 30 degrees, we can actually go ahead and construct a small right triangle here. Alright, so let me draw it better. Alright, so now we have our small triangle here. Pretend this is just the radius. Now, if this is 30 degrees, we know this has to be 90 degrees, and then we know that this is 60 degrees right here. So, given this information, we now go back to our special right triangles. Now, looking at this, the 30, 60, 90, we know that the hypotenuse is 2a, right? But then now, looking at our circle that we have here, we know that the hypotenuse is just equal to 1 because it's the radius of the circle. So the hypotenuse, I'm just going to write it here, hypotenuse is 1. So our hypotenuse is pretty much just the radius of the circle. So now we know that the special right triangle says that 2a is the value for the hypotenuse for the 30, 60, 90. So we can just say 2a is equal to 1 in this case. And when we solve for a, we just get a is equal to 1/2. So now, given the value for a, we know that the hypotenuse is equal to 1, so h is equal to 1. Now let's find the measures for the other two sides. So the other two sides, it says the longer side is square root of 3 times a, and the other side is just a. So let's start with the shorter side. So this side is just a, and this side is square root of 3 times a. Now we do know that a is 1/2, so we can just plug in these values for a wherever. So we can just replace this a over here with a 1/2. We can replace this with square root of 3 times 1/2. Now this gives us, I'm just gonna, this is equal to square root of 3 over 2. So now we have our side lengths for all three sides. So the height of the triangle is 1/2, the base is square root of 3 over 2, and the hypotenuse, since it's the radius of the circle, we know it's 1. Now that we have this information, now what would this coordinate right here be? If you were to think of this as a coordinate plane, what would this point right here be? The x value would be just the base of the triangle, starting from here to here. We know that length is square root of 3 over 2. So this point right here is just square root of 3 over 2, comma, and we know the height is 1/2, which is basically like the y value of this point. So we know that that point right there is square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. So now we did this for our 60, 30, 90 triangle. And let's try to do this for the 40, 45, 45, 90 triangle as well. So keep in mind the hypotenuse is 1. That's very important. So now the 45, 45, 90, I'm just going to construct another triangle here. So we know that's 90 degrees. This is 45 degrees. And now I'm just going to make this our hypotenuse. This line right here makes it. And this entire part right here, I'm just going to erase the 30 for now. So this entire angle here would just be 45. Alright, now that we know that that's 45, 45, and 90, we can actually look back at our special right triangles again. And we do see that our hypotenuse is square root of 2. But we know that in our case, the hypotenuse is actually just 1. But this should ideally say a times square root of 2. So this should ideally just say a times square root of 2. I just fixed that real quick. So a times square root of 2. Now that we have this information, again, we figured out earlier that a is just equal to 1/2. So we can call this value right here. So basically starting from the origin here till here, we know that length right there is just 1/2 because that's just a. And then we know the height is also 1/2. So I'm just going to draw like an arrow here. And we know that's 1/2. Write that better. So we know that height is equal to 1/2. And we already know that the hypotenuse is 1. I'm sorry, I just missed one quick thing here. So now we do know that the hypotenuse is 1, but we do know that the hypotenuse for the special right triangle is a square root of 2. So we know that a1 is equal to a times square root of 2. And now a times square root of 2 is equal to 1. Solving for a gives us 1 over square root of 2. Now, if we want to rationalize this, meaning we don't want the square root in the denominator, so we move that to the top, we can do that by multiplying both the bottom and the top by square roots of 2. So that's just going to give us square root of 2 over 2. So I completely forgot that a values are not the same because these are two separate triangles that we're dealing with. Now that we know that our new a value for this triangle is square root of 2 over 2, we know that this is also just a, and this is a, meaning this is also going to just be square root of 2 over 2, and this is going to be square root of 2 over 2, and this is going to be 1. So if we want to find what this point right here is, what the coordinate values for this point is, it would just be the base, which is square root of 2 over 2, which is our x, and then the height is also square root of 2 over 2. So that's that. Now here, I'm just going to go really fast because now what we're doing is we're just constructing another triangle, except this last triangle is going to be the first triangle that we drew, the 60, 30, 90, except it's going to be flipped. So now this one's going to be the 30 degrees, and this is going to be the 60. This entire thing here is going to be 60 degrees. So now we already know what this is equal to because we did the work previously. So we know the hypotenuse is just 1. Again, let me draw the hypotenuse so it's easy to visualize. So the hypotenuse is 1. We know this short side here was 1/2 when we did it earlier. So this right here is just 1/2. And this height over here is square root of 3 over 2. So that means this point right here would be 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. Alright, so now, and of course, since this is a unit circle, this point right here would just be 1 comma 0, or 0 comma 1, sorry. Now, to construct the rest of the circle, we pretty much just mirror these values. So this is going to be negative 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. And then this value is going to be just square root of 2 over 2 negative comma square root of 2 over 2. And then this point's just going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. And now we just keep doing this for the whole circle, and that's pretty much how we get our values. So this video was just a quick intro on how exactly we get these coordinate values on the unit circle. Let me actually just quickly finish doing the entire thing. Negative 1 comma 0. This is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 comma negative 1/2. This is going to be negative square root of 2 over 2 comma negative square root of 2 over 2. This is going to be negative 1/2 comma square root of negative square root of 3 over 2. And of course this point's going to be negative 0 comma negative 1. This is going to be 1/2 comma negative square root of 3 over 2. This is going to be square root of 2 over 2 comma negative square root of 2 over 2. Again, I'm just mirroring the points from this side onto this side. So this is going to be square root of 3 over 2 comma negative 1/2. And we're done. We're back to 0 comma. This is just going to be, of course, 1 comma 0. And yeah, that's pretty much how you get all your coordinate values for the unit circle. Next, in the next video, I'm gonna go over how to fill in the rest, like the radian measures and the degrees. But this is how we get these values in the unit circle. We don't just make it up. It's all math. Thank you.